Hey everyone. Today I have with me Tarun. Tarun previously founded Icon Scout, which he then sold to Lottie Files, and right now is building Copperx, or as he likes to say, simplifying payments in crypto. Uh, Tarun, would you like to introduce yourself?
Um, yeah, so I'm Tarun. I'm developer by profession. I like to code, and previously, as Tarmi mentioned, I was co-founder and CTO of Icon Scout, which is a design resources marketplace. I have like I'm developing applications since I was like I don't know, maybe 12 years old or something like that. I have developed multiple applications, worked with many startups, including I think even Polygon, TimeSwap, uh, medical science, and a lot many more. So yeah, mostly techie, loves product, user experience, and yeah, love to simplify things. Yeah.
That's great. That's awesome. Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to have you on the podcast. What I'm curious is, how did the transition from Icon Scout and your journey into Web3 start? Like, how did you get into Web3, and how did the initial idea of Copperx even came?
Yeah, so regarding my journey in crypto, like it started back in 2017, more or less, when there was the first bump in Bitcoin price. I think one of the first bull runs that a lot of people noticed, right? And I remember like Bitcoin was somewhere around $1,200 or something like that. And yeah, it's like so that was the first time I heard about Bitcoin. Till then, like fast forward to 2021, I do have many friends who use crypto, who have startups in blockchain, but I did jump in because I was focusing on Icon Scout. And yeah, at Icon Scout, like my work was mostly involved in front and back end, infra and all these things, scaling things and stuff like that. And as I'm a developer, so I wanted to know like what is this new technology called blockchain and why people are so much interested into that. And I was like, okay, let me just get try it out, see what I can do. I wanted to know like what is all this fuss about blockchain, right? In 2021, we already by 2021 we already had like I think Polygon and many more startups from India building in Web3, leading the world, right? So yeah, in 2021, I with curiosity I jumped in blockchain, started learning blockchain, coding solidity and all these things. And while I was basically using blockchain, right, for XYZ reason, I tried to pay for multiple products using crypto, right? And obviously, like I mean, I knew from the beginning like that crypto or blockchain can help us to do a faster, safer, and cheaper transactions in general, right? And that was the reason I tried to pay to multiple products using crypto, and I realized that the whole user experience was broken. And then I started exploring multiple products like Coinbase, Commerce, BitPay, and many more, and saw that like for a business, it's very tedious to accept crypto payments. Like it starts from there itself. Right? A lot of businesses are using a one or other tool. They use a combination of tools, or they build something in house, right? So with that curiosity of simplifying things, simplifying user experience of payments, specifically for businesses, I started we started building Copperx.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. And it's interesting you say that 2021. I also around the same time only started my journey with like Web3 properly.
Yeah,
Uh, but that's good to hear. And with the entire idea of simplifying UX in terms of payments, and I completely agree with that thought as well. That the payment process is completely broken.
yeah,
I personally haven't been able to pay for a single easy to go website.
yeah,
Recently, you launched something called recurring payments. Do you
yeah.
want to talk about that? And congratulations on that launch. I saw my Twitter feed entirely blown up with Copperx, Copperx, Copperx. So that was insane. Do you want to talk about what it is, what you've built there?
Mostly what we like when we interact with blockchain, right? We usually initiate a transaction from our end. While most of businesses that we see right now, which are like online SaaS tools, marketplace, right? Most of them have recurring payments using card or bank transfer, right? Now, this is technically not possible using blockchain, right? And all more or less not possible. It's more about it's not feasible as of now, or there is no protocol who enables that, right? So what we wanted to do is and like we have a lot of developer tools, node providers, RPC providers, analytics tools, all this. businesses who are accepting crypto payment, but they are doing all these things manually, sending invoicing on a monthly basis or 6 months or yearly basis, right? So we're like, okay, like what is the problem in here? And then we started exploring like what could be the possible solution for any business, even starting with Web3 business, right? For example, Alchemy, Infura, any RPC provider you take, right? How can we enable them to accept recurring billing and their users can pay, right? So we talked to a bunch of users who are using these RPC providers, right? And they were like, hey man, like we have to literally go to their dashboard and pay every single month, right? Because it just goes overdue. So we started looking for a solution out, and we came up with bunch of approaches and bunch of protocols who enables this thing using blockchain, using like natively via blockchain. And we started talking with a protocol called Superfuel, which is a money streaming protocol, right? Which is being used by many startups right now to enable mostly payrolls as of now, right? So we had a chat with them, and they were like, "Hey, yeah, I mean, technically for them, subscription is one of the biggest use cases, right?" So we started talking with them, and like now we did a POC with them on recurring billing. So what you can do as a user, so to simplify all this jargon for you, right? It's like as a user, all you do is you give an approval of your wallet, right, to Superfuel protocol, and the money keeps streaming from your wallet to their wallet on a regular basis, on a per second basis, more or less, right? And this enables constant flow of money streaming from your account to their account or business account in real time without doing any transaction. Like once you do single transaction, like there is no more transaction required on a monthly basis, right? So it's very, very easy for anybody, any business like Alchemy, Infura, Quicknode, anybody to, accept recurring billing. All users can do is they can basically wrap that tokens to Superfluid tokens, and it just keeps streaming, right? It works out of the box. And what we enable on top of this is we as a Copperx we provide simple APIs which can be which can be used to initiate recurring billing for any user, right? And we handle things like real time notifications to user to businesses. If their wallet balance is low, we notify them. If by any reason user cancels the stream, right, we notify to the business that, hey, this particular user has canceled or changed anything for xyz reason, right? And they don't like businesses, we abstract all everything related to blockchain. Like they use our API and that's it. We handle in the way we businesses do with Stripe. They just integrate Stripe API and that's it. Like Stripe handles reminders, chargebacks, generating invoices, receipts, paybooks, all these things, right? So we do all these things for.
Congratulations on that launch. And like I said, my entire Twitter is just blowing up with Copperx and your recurring payments launch.
Yeah,
Just congratulations on that. I would like to go a couple of steps back, right? So a lot of founders that we see, some of them are like hackers coming out of hackathons. That are a very cool idea that they built out, but they have
yeah,
little to no idea what it goes inside team building, business development, or any other verticals of a company formation. Uh,
right.
you have been building companies and you have built two huge companies. I'm curious, how would you suggest them go about their process from going from a developer to like forming their team, thinking about the hiring process,
Correct.
and all the way all those early stage steps that you have to go through?
I think there is one major key difference between like just being a developer or a hacker or indie builder versus like starting up something. It's a thin line basically, right? So as a developer or as a indie builder or indie hacker, right, what I usually do is I keep like building one product, and then after 2 months I forgot about that. After 3 months I build something else and then forget about that, right? So while you are an indie builder, right, usually the only thing that you need is understanding like the problem to the core and dedicating for that, right? So for example, usually like for even from YC terms, right, usually they consider 4 years as like ideal period for any startup, right? And as a developer, all you need is you need a dedication, you need a persistence to build for a longer term, keep solving the same problem or even in the same space, right? Rather than like bouncing off from an idea to idea to idea, right? Or even bouncing off from an hackathon to second hackathon and third hackathon, right? So that is very, very important, right? So first thing is you need focus, dedication, and persistence to basically build for a long term. Certainly, you need to have longer term future about future. Like certainly, you need to have longer term vision about what this can evolve into, right? So, for example, if you are building dev tooling or a simple, let's say, simple, a URL which gives something, or let's say which parse some data, right, and shows the output in an easy way, right? It's a simple problem, and a lot of developers might be facing those things. We do, like, even I myself, I use a lot of those similar tools, right? Blockchain, non-blockchain, doesn't matter, right? But what you need to do is, once you build that, right, you test it out with bunch of users, and then keep building more things on top of that. Right? So that mindset is very very important. And like even like for me also, like I do have a lot of ideas coming to in my mind every single day. For example, I'm like today only, like Nadir tweeted that like the whole the Web3 industry, like we do not have proper developer tooling, everything is broken, right? Like even I feel somewhat similar to that, right? We use bunch of services, they are down on a random time, they keep changing on a random basis, right? But yeah, I mean, you need a long term thinking on that, and then that is the first and foremost step, right? Then the second thing that you might need and you will need is thinking about a problem from a product perspective, right? So as a developer, we are usually, we are more of a geeky, right? We don't usually look at how how the end user might use this, right? So maybe UI, user experience, product understanding, I'm not saying you need it from day one, but you need to participate at least, right? You can't just be a techie or just a developer and say like, hey, you figure it out and just let us know. Right, so that mindset is also important. And then the third one is like the sales and BD that you talked about, right? That is something like I'm personally still figuring things out in that area. Uh, I would say the way we worked at Icon Scout, right? So Icon Scout was more of an organic growth, right? So we focused a lot on marketing and organic growth. We focused a lot on SEO. One of the major thing that we focused was on customer support, right? So these are the good areas that I have in like marketing. I mean, you are seeing the marketing that we are doing right now on Twitter, product marketing or general marketing, right? But yeah, like the other aspect, like which is sales and BD, right, which is very very used right now in Web3 world, right? I think, I mean, you like even I'm learning that, right? So I don't have any comment on that part, but
Right.
even like you can just understand something from marketing perspective, right? Like how Apple does marketing or stuff like that, right? So it's like you really need to understand a difference between a developer and a product thinker or a startup founder, right? So it's an evolution that you go through, right? I wasn't a product thinker at all back like 7, 8 years back, right? So that's an evolution that anybody or any developer, any designer goes through. But yeah, that you just need to know that, okay, I so you just need to know that I want to solve this particular problem, and whether it can be a product solution, it can be a customer support solution, it can be a marketing, it can be coding something, it can be anything.
I will delve deeper into the product marketing strategy that you are doing right now, or that you are employing. But before that, I have to ask you, how did you get such a kick-ass team, right? I'm seeing every one of your team members, Saddam, Alvish, and all these people just popping up on Twitter. Wherever there's a product launch, you can see them come up in a timeline. They're
Yeah,
doing great in whatever they are working on at Copperx. How do
yeah.
you go about finding such a team member,
You
developing this team, and founding the entire culture?
you will know, or you will see more of that, to be honest. Like this is nothing, like we haven't told any of our team members to tweet or things like that. You will see more of that because Aditya, who's handling marketing with Copperx, right, he will be basically doing sessions with all the team members, right? So one of the most important aspect, I mean, I don't know whether it's about the startup or the life, is see, like you will use hundreds of products in one life, right? You will build hundreds of products, or maybe at least tens of products in one life, right? But even to build those products, you need the right set of people, right? And one thing that we learned while building Icon Scout, while getting acquired with Loti Files and even being with them for a year, right, is the culture is the most important aspect of any startup, right? Culture is the reason anybody stays with you, anybody who wants to grow with you. and they can solve things that they have never imagined, right? And they can even grow at a pace that they haven't imagined, right? So for me, like to even have this initial team, right, one of the most important aspect is culture, right? We do not allow, or we do not support in the team which is like anything which is unethical. For example, uh, like I have seen, and I have seen amongst many startup, like you will see, 30, 40, 50,000 followers, and when they tweet something, there is just 1 or 2 likes, right? I do not support those kind of engagement which is just false engagement and stuff like that, right? So what matters to us is, even if you're writing something, even if you're putting something out, right, or even if you're doing something, right, does it align with your ethical value, right? Do you feel it's right? Do you feel it helps the user, the customer, or the developer even for that matter, right? So like that value is way more important for us, like, and even anybody does anything wrong in the team, right, we do not have any issues with them until unless that is something unethical, right?
Makes sense.
So the reason we were able to hire or get the initial founding team is because, one, for sure, is we have worked with them for a like very very long period, right? Like anybody, like even if you don't know anybody, for example, you mentioned Saddam Aditya, right? We started with contract on a contract basis with them. We saw that whether you like the team or not, whether we like you or not, right? So it's not about we just want you to get things done, right? We want
Hmm.
like us, right? Because if there is a feeling of family, right, if there is a feeling of having to know that this is your own product, this is you have an ownership in this idea, right? You have a say in this team, right? That is the most important aspect, right? So culture, like we do not compromise on culture. We try to have work life balance as far as possible. For example, like yesterday we had like huge launch, like we were working till like 9 p.m. in the night, right? I like we personally founders, we told everybody that, hey, anybody who wants to take today off, they can just go relax, like don't pressurize yourself, right? So it's fine, right? So
Sure.
I think like we emphasize a lot on culture, and we only hire people, or we only want to work with people who wants to make long term impact, who wants to grow at a scale that they have never seen, who values people, who wants to do good things. That and we
Mhm.
I mean like you usually find this met like these parameters once you work with somebody for a longer term, even for a shorter term, right? So I think, yeah, this is the and I think mostly we hired through referral or uh, track history, or we worked with them for a while. So yeah,
Mhm. I think that culture really shows whenever they tweet out. You can see that, hey, they're tweeting out of the passion of building this,
yeah,
rather than just thinking about, okay, well, how many likes or views or whatever I get
yeah.
on Twitter.
You,
So
you
that
I,
really comes, that
yeah.
really shows on Twitter.
Yeah, I'll add
Sorry.
one more thing. So you won't believe. So we did. So we invited everybody to Dubai. We are fully bootstrap, right? So that wasn't like team outing, sponsoring the whole trip. But we're like, hey, anybody who wants to, come to Dubai, we have a place and work from Dubai, right? Because it's a new country. People do like anybody wants to, try it out and see how it works out, right? So we invited people, and the last day, all of them were like literally very very sad. They were like, okay, we have to now go back, right?
Wow.
Usually when you go to somewhere, some trip, or even office outing, right, people like, okay, when can I get to just go off and go home?
Yeah, it shows I was even tracking you guys. You guys almost like building in public where you can see, okay, you guys tonight watch some movie and you tweet it out and you can say, hey,
Yeah,
these guys are having fun as well as building cool stuff.
yeah.
So it's very nice to see. Now to double tap on the product launches, how do you think about product marketing when we have a big launch coming up? What are the steps? Is there any playbook that you follow?
Usually one of the most important thing that we see or we do is refer to how others did it, right? And how others, as in, like, you need to define who are those others, right? So for us, let's say it could be Stripe, it could be Notion, it could be Airtable, it could be Linear, right? So first thing that we do whenever we are launching something, we're like, okay, how this companies will do it, right?
Mm.
Even in development, we have one sentence that we use is like, okay, we have to build this feature. what if Google is going to build this? Like, how will they build it? Or for now, it's more of a, like, how Stripe will build this.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So even when we do product marketing, we think about how Stripe will do it. For example, last month, Base like Coinbase launched their Base network. Right. So we
Base.
really loved the way they launched. Like they pulled up multiple partners together. They tweeted, all of their partners tweeted. They wrote a blog, have a powerful video. Right. So like we focus too much into that, right? And we try to have the content that we produce, right? There can be two types of content internally that we are discussing, right? So one could be a marketing content, second one could be an information content, right? So what we do is we first, when we do an announcement, so it's more of a marketing content that, like, you will see landing pages and all these things, fancy words, and things like that, right? And along with that, we also push how to articles, right? So today you will see one tweet, or maybe tomorrow there is a tweet going on about how anybody can start start accepting recurring payments, right? So that is more of informational. People can go through it, they can learn, and they can feel like, okay, this is really easy.
Okay.
Right. So we try to it. We try to do it in a way which could be, which can last throughout the week. Right. So we launch something. We try to inform about that to people on a regular basis. Maybe post how to threads. We also try to bring up partners who are using this product. Right. So you will see one or two partners coming up in upcoming days. We'll share about them. They will also share about us on, like, how Copperx has been useful, how that particular product can be useful to our users, right? So we try to have multiple steps in a launch rather than just tweeting something and that's it, right? So you create a video and then the whole
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Linear, right? Because Linear has this thing called Changelog, which I've seen it in very few
yes,
sites, and you also have it.
yeah,
Uh, and this is something that we were internally discussing, that at some point everyone will have a changelog on their
yeah,
website.
yeah.
So, what do you think about the changelog? It's almost like being self accountable to your community or your product users. Uh, what do you think about this changelog, and why do you think it's even important? Because it's capturing a very important space on the website.
So I really don't know how can it be useful to end user. But me being a developer, right? I usually refer changelog a lot whenever something is changed and not working, right?
Mhm.
Uh, so for us, like, what we do is Changelog can help us as a startup to keep track of how are we progressing first and foremost, right? So one rule that we have made since last 1 month is uh, we will try to ship one feature a week. Small feature works, long feature works, like, it doesn't matter, right? So that we have something to show in our changelog on a weekly basis, right? So first and foremost rule is, tell your developer team, hey, we are building this, and we will only build the feature which can, which is something that you can ship in a week, right? And if you're stretching it to 2 weeks, right, so can you divide it further? For example, what we do is we build APIs first, we ship the APIs, and then we build the dashboard and then ship the dashboard, and then we add a few more things like, okay, notifications, XYZ, other things, right? And we write all those things in a change log, right? So we try to have, like, we try to have one change log at least a week, right? Not like we are not doing on a regular basis as of now, to be honest, right? But we want, that is the goal that we want to, right? So I mean, changelog can help us internally to know about the progress, weekly progress, and even to tell everybody that, hey, we are shipping something on a weekly basis. So we as a team are more of like answerable to the community, or to everybody, right? So
Yeah,
that is the whole use case. And I think a lot of people who notice us on a regular basis, right, they keep seeing our changelog, they keep seeing our what these guys are doing on Twitter, right? So Twitter is more of a marketing, but changelog is like the true change of what is happening in uh, the product.
got it. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that as well. And like our last couple of questions, what do you think
Yeah.
about the current crypto space in general right now?
What I feel is we are in a trickier position right now because we saw one of the, like, we are seeing one of the major bank run crisis uh, right now, and even that can, we also notice that that can also affect something called stable coins, right? So USDC got affected due to that, which should not happen, right? So we are in trickier position right now when it comes to like comparing banks versus blockchain, right? But one thing is for sure, is blockchain are gonna be there, right? So, for example, the only way to solve, or one of the way, let's say, I'm not a finance expert, so one of the way to solve maybe bank runs or is to give users or companies custody of their funds, right? And which is very much easily possible by with blockchain, right? So certainly we feel like, okay, like like for example, like I think one of the major fear that people had 2 weeks back was, okay, if USDC dies, we are done, right? But we are done for the crypto or that particular crypto space, not for the blockchain space, right?
Correct.
Blockchain is going to be there. It's a technology which helps people to be on the same page. It's a very very powerful database for anybody to use it. So finance, banking, payments, right? So all these industries, they will start evolving, and they have already started using blockchain in one other way, right? One of the major push that we will see in upcoming, I think, years, like in 1 or 2 years, is CBDC, the impact of CBDC, right? So which, like, it does not have to be backed by bank one is to one, and which is open blockchain for anybody to transact and do financial transactions, right? So it can even be regulated for that matter, right? So certainly it feels like, okay, like we don't know what could happen to this space, right? But the blockchain space is going to be there for a longer run, for sure, right? And we will, I think, yeah, that is the reason we are here. That is the reason we are building blockchain, and that is the reason we are using blockchain word in Copperx rather than the crypto word.
I believe the same, sir. That's great. And finally, do you want to give any sneak peeks of what's upcoming with Copperx or anything? Any sneak peeks for the audience who's going to listen to this?
We are building a lot of things. Let me tell you, I think Builder Stripe would be the first one. I think even I'm gonna tweet this today or maybe 2 days.
Mhm.
We will be launching swapping. Right. So right now you can transact over Ethereum and Polygon, and which is like one currency, one like single currency transaction that you do, right? So we will be giving inbuilt swapping feature, so that you and the user have a option to pay using any currency. Second one that we are working on is Solana integration. So,
That's
as see for business, what matters is, okay, they want to accept payments in crypto. That's it, right? They don't know Ethereum, Polygon, Solana. They don't want to know about all these things, right? So what we believe is we are fully blockchain agnostic. It does not matter whether it's EVM blockchain, non-EVM blockchain, right? All that matters is whether there is enough volume, whether there is enough people transacting over this blockchain,
Mhm.
right?
Correct.
You will see in Solana. So right now, when we look at stablecoin markets, we have like top 5 networks are Ethereum, Polygon, Solana, BSC, and Tron network, right? So we want to make sure that using Copperx, anybody can accept payments across all these networks with a click.
Mhm.
Right, so that is coming. Binance Smart Chain is support is coming. You might also see some of the custodial payment options, right? So, for example, imagine a scenario, you don't need to connect a wallet and you will be able to make a payment.
Nah.
So, yeah, you go to an event website, you don't need to know about blockchain. All you do is you open up a Binance app and pay. That's it.
Wow, that's going to be super cool.
Yeah, right.
Can't wait.
So, yeah, so we are working. So, as I mentioned, like the goal is to enable blockchain-based payments, right? It could be any blockchain, any method.
I can't wait for this. This is honestly really exciting stuff. Uh, and yeah, thank you so much for coming on the call and sharing your knowledge. It's been immensely helpful. Any final parting thoughts for any kind of for early stage founders who are listening to this?
Okay, I'm a research founder, to be honest. I think like founders, like as a founder, one of the most important aspect for us would be to focus deeply on the product. Like we need to really understand what is the pain point and how we as a founder are solving them, right? uh, we need to get involved in day-to-day activities for those things, right? So it is very very important for you as a founder to understand at least technology or even product side of the things, right? And second thing that I'm learning right now is certainly being good at sales, marketing, and communication. Like that is also very very important, right? So I think, yeah, those two things are important. And other than that, like forget about the market. Like I don't look at Binance on every single day and like, okay, Dodge is like 10% up. today Ethereum is 10% up. Like, it does not matter, right? The thing that matters is whether your users are using your product or not. Right. So if you can do that, that's good. And for early stage founders, I think even for me, the personal goal is to have 5 big companies using Copperx in next few months, and yeah, that I think that will show us a lot of progress.
I'm sure that will happen sooner than you think. And like I
Yeah.
said, thank you so much again for giving us your time and coming on the pod.